Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kitten of Doom, and today I wanted to go over Scylla for you guys and give you guys a quick guide and build for her. So I wanted to start over with her abilities and what they do, and I'll explain her first ability. Scylla sends 2 hounds forward, damaging, rooting, and crippling the first enemy hit. At max rank, 2 additional enemies nearby the first target will also be hit. And at max rank, that has to deal with her passive, so I'll show you that in jungle practice in a second. Second ability, and that ability is called Sick'em. Second ability is called Crush. Scylla creates a magical field that slows enemies. After 5 seconds, it detonates and causes damage. Scylla may activate the ability again to detonate it early. At max rank, enemies in the area also have their magical protection reduced, and targets hit by the damage are slowed for an additional 1 second. And there are the additional stats and everything on that. Third ability is called Sentinel, and it gives Scylla passive MP5. And when it's active, Scylla summons a sentinel to the target area, granting vision of enemies for 5 seconds. Scylla may activate the ability again within 5 seconds to move to the sentinel's location. At max rank, the vision is granted through line of sight blockers and placement range increases. And her ultimate is I'm a Monster. Scylla reveals her true nature, becoming CC immune for the next 6 seconds and gaining movement speed. She may make 1 powerful attack during this time. If she kills an enemy god with the attack, she gains another 6 seconds and may attack again. At max rank, the movement speed bonus doubles. And this is her passive, which is Quick Learner. Each of Scylla's abilities gain an additional effect at max rank. In addition, Scylla gains 20 magical power for each max rank ability. So this is how I typically would level her. You always want to level her Crush first for wave clear, and then depending on if you're kind of getting ahead in your lane or if you just want an extra escape route, if you want an escape just to be safe, go with Sentinel for your level 2. Then I'd go into Sick'em, and then you'd want to be maxing Crush. And obviously at level 5, get your ultimate. Go into Crush again, and then go into Sick'em. And this is something that's personal preference. Typically I'd put another point into her ultimate just for the extra damage, but if you value the max rank of the 2, go ahead and choose that first so you can have that additional effect on her Crush. And then you'd want to be maxing Sick'em next, and same again goes for if you value the Sick'em passive, which is really nice because you can actually root like up to 3 enemies from just 1 first ability, so it's pretty good. And then obviously max Sentinel last, and that is what I'd typically do, kind of just in Conquest, just go whatever you think is more important at the time, just like if you want her 3 or if you want to like max her abilities for those additional effects. Alright, now that we're in jungle practice, I can show you a couple of things. So let's just go to like rank 5. Okay, this is what Scylla's 1 looks like. Now it's a line ability and you root the enemy god, and I think in jungle practice it's a little bit harder to show you what that does in max rank, but pretty much if you use this and there are enemy gods like close to the god you're targeting, then they'll also get rooted with those dogs. Scylla's second ability looks like this, and you can either leave it on the ground to detonate by itself, but typically won't ever really kill anyone because they always want to get out of your Crush that way. So you definitely want to detonate that as soon as you send it out. So that's just hitting the ability again. So send it out and then detonate it. And Scylla's third ability looks like this. She has her little sentinel that can give her like a brief ward vision for a second. If you're worried about them like going on Gold Fury or Fire Giant, you can send that out. But then you kind of lose your escape. So keep that in mind. And to escape, you send it out and then you press it again and you travel all the way over here. So it's a pretty good escape with her, and she can get out of a lot of things, like especially Odin's cage, and she can put this through walls. So she's really safe with that as long as you have it up. And her ultimate looks like this. So you're moving pretty fast, and you obviously get it for 6 seconds. And I'm going to show you the reset of this over at the Raw. So Scylla is definitely known as the pentakill queen because she hurts so much with her ultimate. I'm just going to get items so I can one-shot this Raw. So after I kill him, I can use it again and again and again. So this is what makes her so powerful. But you obviously have to keep hitting her ultimate, which it can be pretty hard on gods that are moving. So it takes a little bit of time to wind up, but it definitely hurts a lot. So she's a really powerful mage, and late game she is an absolute monster. But what's nice about Scylla's Crush is that it does slow the gods who are in this radius, so it'll be a little bit easier for you to get that ability on them since they're slowed. And this is what Scylla's typical combo is. So you'd throw your one out and use your crush, and they're pretty much gonna be dead when you do this with a full build. And that is what her combo is most of the time. You know, you can, to set up your ultimate easier, you can actually root them, go straight into your ult, and then confirm it that way. Because I think it takes a lot more time, and it's a little bit harder to use your 1, 2, and then go into your ultimate and get that. So if you want to just easily confirm your ultimate, go ahead and use the root into the ultimate. And it does take a little bit of practice with her to get used to hitting her ultimate on moving targets. So don't feel discouraged if you aren't good at it, because it just takes practice. And let's go over my typical conquest build and typical builds on her. So obviously the two most important starter items I think for her that are most viable is Sands of Time and Soulstone. She does have a little bit of trouble clearing early game, so if you have a jungler that has pretty good clear, go ahead and pick up Sands of Time for that extra MP5 and cooldown reduction. But if you both kind of have, if your jungler doesn't have good clear, I'd go ahead and pick up Soulstone just for, gives her, you know, more mana, and then obviously helps her lane clear better. I typically either go Boombas if you want to do that, or you could kind of go other things like tier 1 Tiny Trinket, gives you extra sustain in lane if you do that, or you could obviously go tier 1 Boots, but it's kind of not that great anymore. You could try and do tier 1 of Book of Thoth, or even tier 1 of Rada Tahuti, gives you MP5 that way. But typically I kind of just do something like this at the start, and then I'd go into Boots right after that. I always typically go Pen Boots with her just because she hits super hard with her, and Pen is really good on her. I do like going into Book of Thoth just so I don't have to worry about mana. Third item, I always like to go a penetration item, so I really like Spirit Desolation for even more cooldown, or if you obviously want to go for one-shot potential and they're pretty tanky on the other team, go for Obsidian Shard, and obviously Divine Ruin if they have healers. I never really get Spirit Magus on her. And then about this time is when I'd like to go into my lifesteal item. So typically she can do pretty well with a lot of these, but I personally think Polynomicon is the best on her just because she has insane one-shot potential with Polynomicon, just because she gets guaranteed basic attacks after her root. So it's just nasty. And I'll show you this over with the Raw. This is what I'd typically do. You'd get that auto, and then he's just dead. So you have to get used to doing her combo pretty fast just so that they don't get out of your route before you detonate the crush. But you can get pretty used to it, and she's pretty good with Polynomicon. I think it's almost a must on her just because she hits so insanely hard. Next item's kind of up to you. Obviously Soul Reaver is amazing with her for even more just one-shot potential with her combos. Typically in Conquest I don't do this, but in other game modes I love building this on her. You could go another penetration item like Obsidian Shard in this spot, or if you want more cooldown, go ahead and get Chronos Pendant. And if you're worried about being too squishy, obviously Warlock Sash is another good option for her. And obviously you'd always want to be rounding out your build with Rod of Tahuti just for the insane amount of magical power. And I'm going to kind of just show you the numbers on this. Like, your crush is hitting for 1,000, your basic attacks are hitting really hard as well. And let's see how much her ult does. 1,700 on the ult. So you can see how much of an insane mage she is. Yep, hitting the 2 for 1,000, the 1 for around 800. So she's so nasty. If you don't want to go poly, go ahead and build Bancrofts or even Pythagoras piece for extra cooldown and the aura for your team. So another really good item that got buffed recently is Shaman's Ring. I think this is such a good item on her just because sometimes I feel like they are so close to dying, but she just needs that tiny pinch more of damage to confirm the kill. And Shaman's Ring is perfect for that just because the evolved passive, successfully hitting a god with damaging abilities, causes them to become debuffed and taking 10% additional damage from you. So I like building this on her now because it gives her movement speed, helps her, kind of be fast and stay alive, and just for the extra damage. Just look at the item icon over there and I'll show you when you get enough stacks of this shaman's passive, then it evolves. So you need to get 50 stacks, which is 5,000 damage. So you can see as I'm damaging raw, I'm getting passive stacks. And then I just got enough, so it kind of changed icons, and now it's all has little lightning bolts around it. I think Shaman's Ring is really good if you're not too worried about getting double penetration. Yeah, I mean, I'm even just killing him with my 1, so I'm going to show you do you see that little ball of my icon above him? That means that debuff is on him, so the Shaman's Ring passive's on him. So whenever that's on there, they're taking additional 10% damage from you. So I actually really like this build on her right now, and I think it's pretty good. She hits super duper hard. And obviously Scylla is really good with other setup gods. Kind of people that come to mind are Ares and Neja, just because when they ult, you can set up your ult and go ahead and ult whenever Naja brings someone back down to the ground, or when Ares does, or Kumba. So she can definitely set up really well with other gods that have ultimates like that. So keep that in mind when you're playing with her, just to always look out for those setup potentials. And obviously for relics, I would always go Beads and Aegis, just because Scylla is kind of squishy and she needs to stay alive to do her damage, obviously. If you guys have any questions or any additional tips for Scylla, please put them down in the comments. And I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this was helpful, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!